Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? So I am pretty excited for this video because I'm going to be reviewing my April first impressions, which this is a new series I really want to start on my channel just because I feel like I want to be more accountable of actually going back and reviewing things that I did a first impression on, because sometimes you just try something and you like get swept up in the newness and then you forget about it and you move on to the next thing and you just forget. So I've been trying to make sure that I use all of these products and get to know them really well so that in a month or so I can actually speak about them and give a full review. So I have a ton of products in front of me from April that I did a full face of first impression at the very beginning of the month, I believe, or the very end of March, but we're just gonna call it April. We'll just call it April. And then I also did like a little first impression on some products from Girl Boss Cosmetics. I don't have a review for everything that I first impressioned in April just because if I felt like I wasn't ready, I wasn't going to push myself to review it, but I do have a lot to talk about, and if I am ready for whatever I missed this month, I'll just include it in next month's whenever I do like a reviewing May first impressions type of video. And I'm wearing a lot of the products on my face today, but not everything. I didn't film a full look using this or do like a get ready with me or anything. I just want to go ahead and talk through it just because that's the easiest way for me to do this and get it done. So I'm just going to go ahead and just choose a random product and just jump right on in. So actually first I'll talk about a brush that I actually received through Octoly, and this is the Artiste Palm Brush, which looks like this, and this is a really expensive brush, and I didn't expect to love it. I was very curious to try it, but it was kind of like a luxury thing where I was like, I don't think I would pay for that myself. Like, it's like I'm trying it specifically to review, and like I just didn't know how I'd feel about it. I was very like hesitant, I guess, but I have to say that I kind of fell in love with this brush specifically because I love doing stick foundations, and I feel like I have to blend my stick foundations out with a brush and not a sponge. So I was actually loving a brush from e.l.f. for a while, and I thought it blended everything in really well. But then I started using this, and ever since I started using this to blend out my stick foundations, I don't want to use anything else because it is literally so fast. Like, you literally just like, and it's like your entire face is blended in. It is so quick. So I feel like this is, like I said, it's definitely a luxury product. I can do the same thing with other brushes that are way cheaper. It just takes longer. So if you are someone who's like in a rush in the mornings, or you really like stick foundations, then I recommend this. Like, if you have extra money to like splurge, or you want to like just treat yourself, it does make foundation application so fast, which I really appreciate. I have tried using it with a few different like liquid foundations, and it does blend everything out really fast, but personally with liquid foundations I always just prefer to go with a sponge. It's just in my nature. I feel like it makes it more dewy, but I just love this. I used it today, and it makes everything so fast. It's so soft. So yeah, I really ended up loving this brush, which I did not expect to. Which, speaking of stick foundations, one of the ones I have been trying out is the Ulta Beauty Moisturizing Foundation Stick, and I have the shade Very Fair Cool, which is a very light shade. You can see I actually am wearing this today, and I mixed it with my Makeup Revolution stick foundation. I just did like a line here, a line there, and just did a little bit of each, and I feel like these two kind of give me my perfect color because this is just a touch darker than me and this is just a touch lighter than me, so they work really well. They're a pretty good team. But I actually have been enjoying this a lot. I mean, I kind of have fallen in love with stick foundations, and I feel like if you get the right formula, they can be super dewy and just like look so natural on the skin. And this one is so like soft. Like, whenever you like swipe it across the skin, it just feels like it melts into your skin, and like you don't have to like drag your brush or anything. Like, it is not drying whatsoever. It's super nice, and I would honestly probably in the future repurchase this and maybe get another shade and mix them together just to be able to use this on its own, because it does feel really nice. It's hard to say what's my favorite because I love this one, I love the Makeup Revolution, I love the ColourPop. I'm torn. I feel like the combination of these two is probably my favorite above all of them, but I do really like this. I feel like it lasts pretty well, and it just looks really nice on the skin, so I've been enjoying it, and it's a pretty good foundation. It's cruelty free, as is everything that I'm talking about today, but it's super affordable as well, so I like it. Also from the Ulta Beauty line, I have been testing out their full coverage liquid concealer in the shade Light Cool, which from the time that I bought this and actually used it, they already made new shades of it, so there are lighter shades available. I have been using this as a color corrector because if you have super fair skin, or I mean any skin tone in general, if you accidentally get a concealer that's a little bit too dark for you, you can actually go in with it and use it as a corrector and use it just in like the darkest part of your eye, kind of blend it out, and then use a lighter concealer over it to lighten up after you've covered the under eye circles or whatever. And I got that tip from Marlena from Makeup Geek forever ago, and it's my only way of using concealers that are too dark for me, which I end up buying a lot. So I actually have been liking this a lot for that. I just use a tiny little bit, not a ton of product at all. It is pretty good coverage, and I have been pairing it with a like really lightweight concealer to lighten up afterwards, and I like it. It's fine. I'm gonna try and use it up. I don't know, maybe I would repurchase it in a lighter shade just to try, but probably not. I would probably rather stick to my Tarte Shape Tape, so I'm not in love, but I'm going to make it work for the time being and use it up and get my money's worth and everything. I also went ahead and tried the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye Concealer, and this says it's a full coverage anti-aging waterproof concealer, and I have the shade 10.0 Light Fair N, and I just don't really love this. I feel like it's super inconvenient because it is like that squeezy tube, which is fine. If you're like a makeup artist, that might be really helpful, but you have to like sit there and like really like, you guys see that? Like, do you see how hard it is to get anything to come out? And I just feel like it's so annoying because other concealers, you can just undo them and be done and have the product on your face, where this, it takes forever to come out, and then you have to like sit there and do it with your fingers or do it with a brush, and I don't feel like I love to reach for this, and I would forget about it very easily. I also feel like it does kind of crease. I have to be very careful about what powder I set this with because it can be very like finicky. So I mean, it's okay, the color is fine. I'm sure I will figure out something to use this for, or maybe like incorporate it into my everyday makeup, because it's not a horrible concealer. I just don't like it. I would never repurchase it. All right, next I have the Lovelux Beauty Set and Stay Makeup Setting Spray, which just looks like this. And I've used this a few times in the past month or so, and it's okay. Again, it's just an okay product. I don't know if it really does a whole bunch for me, like actually like making my makeup last. I don't feel, it's not bad, but it's not amazing either. It's just, it's a setting spray, and I feel like I've found certain setting sprays that really do it for me. Like I found like dewy ones and glowy ones, and I just love them so much that when it's just a regular setting spray that I'm not even like sure if it fully like makes a difference, then it's just kind of like, nah. I mean, I will use it over time. I will finish it up. I don't see myself repurchasing it. And the one thing with this is it says on there, like it says loud and clear, shake well. Well, one time I forgot to shake it and I had pink glitter all over my face. So I'm not sure what that's about, because if you do shake it, you don't get any sparkles. Like I sat here and sprayed my hand. I'm like looking for sparkles. I'm like, nothing, no sparkles comes out. But if you don't shake it, they do. And it basically ruined my makeup because I just had pink sparkles everywhere. I don't even know what that's about. Like, yeah, I want to look in here and see like what's happening. Ooh, that looks, oh yeah, that looks so weird. Yeah, definitely some like sparkly stuff going on. I don't know, it's just not my favorite. It doesn't do much for me, so it's a setting spray. Like I said, I will use it up, but I won't repurchase it. Okay, so next I wanted to review this product and talk about it really quickly, although I did do a first impression of this in April on my own time when I was just doing my makeup by myself, so I didn't film it or anything, but I tried it for the first time in April, and now I have thoughts on it, so I figured I would go ahead and include it in like this little review. So this is the Makeup Revolution Cut Crease Canvas Full Coverage Eyeshadow Base, which just looks like this. And I got this basically for free because I used an Ulta coupon for my birthday, and I was so excited. I grabbed the shade Illustrate, which I feel like is okay. I wish it was just a little bit lighter. They have a white shade, but I don't want to get white, so, and I don't want to have to mix, so I make it work. It's fine. It's basically my skin tone, and I really want to try this as a concealer just because of the finish. I'm so curious to see what it would look like. But I actually had the worst experience with this because the very first time I tried it, it reacted specifically with one eyeshadow, and I was so disappointed because I thought it was the primer. I didn't think it was like the primer and the eyeshadow, but I ended up doing a patch test, and there's something specifically between this primer and a shade in the Menagerie Cosmetics Feral palette, which was disappointing. But I've been using this like every single day since then with other eyeshadows, and I've had absolutely no problems. You can actually see, like, I don't know, well, you can't see it as much now because I guess I've been moving this around, but earlier when I had let it settle, you could actually see a little bit of like room in the bottle, like the product being used up and everything. And I think that this is probably going to be my new go-to eye primer. It definitely has its pros and its cons. I think the biggest con is that it creases really, really fast. So whenever you're going to put your makeup on, like, you have to make sure you tap it out beforehand, like literally the moment before you set down eyeshadow. And even like whenever you start blending, you might notice a little bit of creasing and kind of have to tap over like the lid and whatnot. So I think that can be a little bit annoying, but overall I didn't find any big problems with it, and it doesn't cause any creasing throughout the day once it's set. I think my favorite part about this is I feel like it's way more moisturizing than the P. Louise base, which was my like old favorite eye primer. Whenever you apply it, it just looks like dewy on the eyelid, but you can apply mattes on top and it doesn't look like, it looks healthy and it doesn't look drying. And I found over time, the more I use the P. Louise, I just felt like it was a little bit too thick. So this is just slightly thinner than that, and I just love the overall finish of it. I feel like my eyeshadows last all day. I don't have any problems with wear time. They still look super vibrant over this, and it's super affordable. The brush does pick up a ton of product, like a ridiculous amount, but I normally just like kind of use the brush to put it on, and then I'll use a different like actual brush. I normally use a combination of two different Sigma brushes, but I'm not sure where they are right now. I normally use like their, I think it's the E68, and I like kind of clean up underneath my brow, and then I use their cut crease brush and I tap that out the rest of the way. So I just really like this. I'm really happy that I tried it, and I think it's definitely a winner for me. And I have a few different eye primers to get through, which I'm trying very hard to do, but I could see in the future, whenever I finish this, repurchasing it because I'm really liking it. And like I said, I feel like I have more dry eyes, so that helps me a lot. If you have oily eyes, that might not be the best primer recommendation for you. It might be a hot mess. I'm not sure, that's just a guess, but I would make sure you keep your receipt if you do have oily eyes and you buy that. So next I have an eyeshadow from Girl Boss Cosmetics. This is their Affair liquid shadow. And actually, let me pull this up real quick so I can just double check the pricing on this. Okay, so this retails for $22, and I feel like I ended up liking this liquid shadow. It's pretty, it's like kind of like a champagne-y taupey shade, and it has actual glitter in it, which I really appreciate. And it's an indie brand, so like I want to love it, and I do think it's nice. I feel like the product picks up a little bit, like not completely even. I guess I feel like at the end of the day, what holds me back about this is just the price tag. It is $22, and I just feel like that's a lot for a liquid shadow, especially when there's so many good alternatives on the market now that are way less expensive. Especially, I would recommend like the Pixie ones, or I like the Wet n Wild ones, but most of them are not as like glittery. I do like some of the ColourPop ones, so it's hard to recommend something that's $22 when you can definitely find comparable things on the market. I mean, you could even get the Stila ones on discount for probably less than this, so it's beautiful, but I'm not sure if it's worth the price. I feel like it's pretty high up there, so I'm kind of like iffy about this. I do think it's pretty, but it's not the first thing I would recommend if you're looking for a liquid shadow. Also from Girl Boss Cosmetics, I'll just get it out of the way real quick. I have a little palette from them here. This is their powder contour palette, and they actually, I believe you can choose colors to put in here, and they actually have blush options now, if I'm not going crazy. I think so. So I didn't realize before, but I have the shade 5 contour matte, 6 contour matte, and 2 contour bronze, which just looks like this, and it says fair. And Again, it's just a product that I ended up feeling kind of okay about. I think it's nice. It does blend well. This matte like setting shade is kind of blurring, which I appreciate, but I just feel like it's just a touch too pigmented for me. Like you can see it on my skin. Maybe during the summer when I'm like half a shade darker, I'll be able to get away with wearing that whenever I'm like finally able to pull out some of my favorite foundations that are just a little bit too dark for me, like the Physicians Formula healthy one or something along those lines. So I will definitely, like, I'm not decluttering this by any means, but I just find myself not reaching for it. The contour shade is very, very warm and it does blend out really well. I do have this palette all on my face today and it blends out, but it just, whenever you first do the initial application, I don't know why, it just scares me every single time because it looks so pigmented. And then I do really like the contour. I feel like it adds like a nice natural shade to the cheekbones. So I think this is okay. It's not my favorite contour little palette ever. It's not bad by any means, but I don't feel myself like excited to use it or wanting to reach for it constantly. So I feel like that's kind of an indicator of how I feel about it. So it's okay. I do want to talk about the palette that I have from Girl Boss Cosmetics, but I haven't used it enough to give a full review, so hopefully I can do that next month. I have been focusing on a different palette, which actually I almost forgot about. Thank goodness I just started talking. So this is the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill Bling Boss palette, which I was really wanting to get some use out of and like gather some thoughts, and I have been. I've used this a ton. It's been like my everyday palette. I use this in conjunction with the Coloured Rain Queen of Hearts, and that was a really pretty combination. I feel like I used this with another palette that I really liked, but I can't remember what it was. But I feel like this is, honestly, for the price, I feel like it's a good palette. Like, it's okay. You can get good looks out of it. I feel like if you're in a rush, it might be kind of frustrating because I feel like the matte shades, the lighter one, like this blends beautifully, but some of the darker ones, they are really beautiful, but I feel like once you stick them down, they kind of want to stay in that one spot. And then whenever you try to blend around it, it might kind of like wisp away, and you kind of have to go back and add more and blend and add more and kind of, it's like a layering technique to get these mattes to work, and it's kind of a shame because they are really beautiful tones. And I do like the looks I end up doing with them, but I would say they just take a little bit more finessing. Definitely not my favorite quality ever. I think it could definitely be improved, but it's also not horrible either. Again, it's an okay palette. I could still see reaching for this. I feel like the shimmers definitely kind of need to be packed on and like built up and everything. But this one shimmer right here, Ballsy, is my absolute favorite. It's like this purple gold duochrome. It is so stunning. Like, it doesn't even look that special when you swatch it, but did this all over the lid, and then I put Hush Hush through the crease, and like I did that look several times, and it's just like a super soft purple look, but it's so easy. I also really love these different like deeper matte options. This Sparks, Rockstar, and Mystic I think are all really beautiful. There's Ballsy and Hush Hush. I already have like stains all on my arms right now. I'm not wearing this palette today obviously, but I just wanted to show you. I just really love this shade. Like, this is one of those ones you would go back into the palette specifically for. So I think it's cute packaging. You can do your makeup in the little mirror. It's good quality. So I feel like if you want like an easy, just quick little purple palette, if you want to add this as a companion palette, because I don't know, I don't hate it. Like, I just don't think it's as bad as people made it out to be, but it's also not as good as like the original Jaclyn Hill palette, which is my favorite. So it's kind of in the middle. Okay, next is the Stila, what is this called? This is their Water Lily, I think it's called like the Aqua Glow Watercolor Blush, which just looks like this, and I did try this for the first time last month, and I like it. Here's what it looks like on the inside. It's like a really strong shade, so I have to be very careful with it. The first time I used this, I was like so blown away by how beautiful it is. I've used it 3 times since, and I feel like it's just kind of annoying to use, especially because I normally like do my face products and then I powder underneath my eyes, and I'm like, oh yeah, I wanted to use cream blush, and I just forget to use it whenever I'm doing more of a full face. So I think I actually am gonna go ahead and take this and put it into my everyday makeup routine, because a lot of times like my everyday 5-minute face doesn't involve any powder, so I feel like I would probably be more keen to use this and remember to use it, because I do think it's really beautiful and it does add like a really healthy flush to the cheeks. I do have it on today, although I don't feel like you can see it all that much. I think it's pretty. I don't think I would buy any more shades. I don't think I would repurchase it. And I think it would last literally forever because it is so pigmented. I always like take it on my finger and I like put it on the back of my hand. Today I actually went ahead, I put all the extra product on the back of my hand, and then I took a little brush and just picked it up and then stippled that onto my cheeks, and that worked okay. Sometimes I use a sponge. I just go back and forth, but I like it. I think it's pretty. I just forgot to use it, which makes it kind of not as worth it for me. And then next I have the Tatcha Silk Canvas, which I just have a little sample of, and I was really curious. I got this in a set and I just wanted to know, is the hype real? I mean, I don't know if you can tell. I've only used a little bit of it. I think I'm probably not using as much as you're supposed to because it didn't come with like a little disc or anything, because it's the sample, and I normally just like stick my finger in there and kind of get a little product and then, you know, kind of go back and forth. And I feel like it does look a little bit blurring, but I just do not see the magic for the price tag. I mean, I could see finishing it up, like it's okay, but it's just, I personally, this is not the kind of primer I go for in the first place. I would prefer something a lot more hydrating, but also I just don't think it makes that much of a difference for me personally, especially it's just way too expensive in my opinion. It doesn't do that much for me, so I will finish this up for sure. Like, I'm definitely going to get my money's worth out of the little sample, but not going to buy a full size, or I don't know, I just don't see it. I just don't see what everyone sees in that. However, I will say I've become a believer when it comes to the Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist. I got this as a full size in like a set that was like makeup or skincare for makeup lovers, and I never would have purchased this on my own. It was from a gift card. It was the VIB sale, so I didn't pay anything for it. And like I said, like, this is, to me, this is complete luxury. Like, I would never buy this, even though I love it. I don't know if I would repurchase it. But it is so good. I feel like the first time I used this, my skin was already glowy, so I didn't see that much of a difference. But I actually went ahead and filmed a little clip that I'll like make sure to throw over the video as I'm talking. And you can see in the beginning, my skin is just matte, it is flat, it is powdered. I feel like sometimes you might like use a foundation that's a little bit too matte or going with a little bit too much powder, and you're like, where is the life? Where did my skin go? Like, I need to be dewy. And that's where this comes into play. And when you spray it, I feel like it just brings life back into the skin, and it looks so dewy and glowy, and it is like, it makes such a real difference. It's crazy. Whenever you're seeing the after little part there, it is, my skin completely dried down, but it still looks wet because of this spray. And that's after like powdering my entire face. Like, I specifically made sure for my before to be extra matte so that you could see the magicalness of this spray. So I really love it. I feel like it's, I don't know if it really like prolongs your makeup, but I feel like if you have a really long day, like, this will just kind of refresh it. Or if, like I said, if you kind of go a little bit too matte, it makes it more dewy and just, it looks more lifelike. And I don't know, I just really love it. So definitely torn because it is super expensive, and the first time I used it, I was like, I don't know what everyone's talking about, like, that is not worth it at all. But that's because my skin was already glowy, so it just added a little bit more glow. It didn't make much of a difference, but like I said, the transformation from matte to glowy was crazy. So it's super nice and beautiful, and packaging and everything, but it's so expensive. So I don't know. It's hard to say. And I feel like I use this very sparingly, but if you used it all the time, you'd probably go through it pretty fast. So I don't know, I'm undecided, but I do love it. I love the product, I just don't love the price tag. Alright, so next I have a highlighter that I want to talk about real quickly, and this is the M Cosmetics, geez, I forget what this is called every time. I don't know what's wrong with me. It's Peach something, Peach Silk. The M Cosmetics Peach Silk highlighter, which I tried for the first time last month, and I love this so much. It is so beautiful. I have it on my skin today, it is just the perfect highlight. I did do a full review on M Cosmetics, and I did a full review talking about the highlight and everything like that. But I just wanted to quickly add it in here because it was part of that full face of first impressions. I love it. I love it. I think it is beautiful. It's a great formula. Highly recommend. I think it looks really glowy and just like natural on the skin, and like it's still an intense glow, but it doesn't look like just a streak in my opinion. I feel like it just looks like it was meant to be there. So I really love that highlighter, and I'm so glad that I finally tried it because I have been reaching for it quite a bunch. So last but not least, I have two different lippies to mention, and then we will finally be done with this video. I feel like I've been talking for so long. So first, I have the Fenty Beauty Diamond Milk, which is actually what I'm wearing on my lips today. And I was unsure about how I felt about this on first impression because it has like little tiny glitters throughout it, and it's just, that's not normally my kind of vibes. But I just love the Fenty Beauty glosses so much that I kind of ended up loving this one, and I feel like the glitter in it is so like microscopic that you can't really see it unless you look really up close. And I feel like from far away, like probably what you're seeing right now, it just looks like a really beautiful clear gloss. I do kind of have pigmented lips, so maybe it looks like there's a color going on, but it's just, I feel like it looks like a clear gloss to me, and it just, like the little glitter just adds like, it makes the lips look that much more like juicy and luscious, and I just love the formula. It is so comfortable. I literally have my other two Fenty glosses in my purse at all time, and I wear them constantly. I'm almost out of my Fenty Glow, which I'm gonna like be so sad, but I do really like Fussy. I just feel like they're the best gloss formula, and I just love it because I feel like if you're someone who has really dry lips, you'll appreciate these kind of glosses so much more just because they feel like a gloss and a chapstick had a baby. They feel super moisturizing and comfortable. I feel like there's a lot of glosses that I just can't wear for a long time. Anything that has like different scents or like the plumping agents or like the mintiness and anything like that, I feel like it's just not great for a long wear on my lips. Like it just doesn't do me any benefits, but this is just, I love it. I love it so much. It's also really beautiful if you use it to top other lip products. I like it for that as well. But I just did not think that I would end up liking this on its own, but I've actually come to love it. I think it just looks really beautiful and so easy and quick, but still so like, just looks very hydrated and beautiful. So last but not least is the Ofra Flexi Stick in the shade Stretch, which I received through Octoly. And I do really like the color of this one. I'll swatch it for you guys real quick since I'm not wearing it or anything. It's like a really light peachy nude. There you can see, like, it is pretty. I like the color. And gosh, I can't even remember how they describe this. I think it's supposed to be like a long wearing lipstick but with a satin finish or with a gloss finish or something along those lines. It wasn't supposed to be your typical liquid lipstick. I would say it's kind of like a satin lipstick in a tube. I just don't love this because I feel like it ends up drying down. It doesn't look very glossy. It just has like the tiniest little bit of a cream finish to it. And it does transfer very easily. Like I remember the first time I wore it, I kissed my son on the cheek and I like lost my entire lipstick, and I was like, well dang, like I wasn't prepared for that because it is a liquid lipstick. So even if you expect like a little transfer, you don't expect for like almost everything to come off. I feel like if you wear this for like more than like 2 hours, it gets uncomfortable. It feels kind of drying on the lips, which is kind of weird because I feel like the Ofra regular liquid lipstick formula doesn't even feel drying on the lips after a few hours. That's more comfortable. So I don't know, I just was not a fan of this formula overall. I think the color is pretty. It's something maybe I'd wear for like a short-term time, maybe wear it for a video, but realistically, real life, I don't think I would wear this out of the house just because I don't like the way it feels. I don't like the transfer. I just feel like it's like, kind of feels like a liquid lipstick, but without any of the benefits of the dryness of a liquid lipstick. Like when liquid lipsticks are dry, that normally means that they're long wearing, they're not going anywhere, they're gonna stay, they're not gonna get on anything, you don't have to worry about touching them up. So this feels dry, but it still has all the problems that the regular dryness would fix, if that makes any sense. So I'm not really a fan of this. I can't even remember what exactly I was saying because my oil heater turned on, like always, right when I'm trying to finish the video. But I think I was gonna say that I just prefer the regular Ofra liquid lipstick formula over this. I think that's where I was going. So I'm pretty sure that is everything that I wanted to review today. I know it's kind of been a long video. Thank you if you watched it all the way through and sticking with me. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to leave them down below if I forgot anything. I know I didn't go through and talk about like the price and the amount of product and everything for each one. I kind of just wanted to give my quick thoughts, so hopefully that's all right. But like I said, you're always open to ask questions down below, and I will try and get back to you as soon as I can. So I hope you enjoyed the video. There is now a fly. I'm so tired. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. Bye. I'm a mess. Soy un recuerdo.